have to admit it. You just have to look at the roster.
I think when you're a person who spent his entire life as a competitor wanting to win, it's difficult this early to admit to anyone you tried to lose. And yet, by losing, you won.
The players were never involved. You know, we never called the players into the office and said, look, you know, it's important, we're trying to change the franchise. They knew what was going on, but they were never, ever involved.
You hate to lose. Is it okay to lose if the greater good is acquiring a player like Mario Lemieux?
You know.
Chicago pretty much did it last year.
So was it the right move at the time? The thing is it fair to New Jersey what they did? You know, it's not for me to say. I mean, I don't think it's the honest thing to do.
I can't blame the franchise because they were dying.
Did EJ show foresight in what he did because he didn't let this team get stuck in the middle with a high but not high enough draft choice?
If it was maneuvering, it was very intelligent. And he was very astute to establish early that this team was going nowhere, number one, and number two, that somebody could come in that was going to change the face of the franchise.
McPhee was fired after the season. 6 years later, he was back behind the Devils bench. But some fans were still less concerned with victories and defeats than one big loss to superstar.
So I was walking around the concourse, and as I was walking around, you could hear the buzz of, like, Tommy McPhee coming, saying to myself, you know, it's pretty good. Like, I'm feeling pretty good that they know who I am, and they think maybe I did a good job. As I'm walking by, I hear one guy say to all the others, there's the son of a bitch that cost us Lemieux.
I was like, fuck, boys, no one told me to fucking lose. What do you want me to do?
Pittsburgh Penguins finished with just 38 points last season.
Don't we have a long way to go? At the end of that year, we wanted some kind of prize.
Yeah, we want the consolation prize, boys.
We want with all year. We
No.
wanted that pick really bad.
Shit, the Penguins got the same thing happen when they got Crosby. They were gonna be relocated, and then fucking the lottery draft, and fucking magic ball out of nowhere for the Penguins.
By finishing last, the Penguins secured the first pick. There was much at stake. It was basically, you know, the life of a franchise. This wasn't about necessarily just getting a pick. This was about saving a team.
Sure. Sounds
But
like that.
after months of scheming to grab Lemieux, the drama was hardly over.
You initiated contract negotiations with the Penguins before the draft. How did they go?
Negotiations went really, really sour. And I was told that you're going to take what we're offering you. And when I heard that, I thought it'd be hypocritical for Mario to go down to the draft table, shake hands, and put on the sweater. I would advise you not to do it.
Were you nervous the morning of the draft?
Yeah, you're always nervous. You know, again, because you weren't sure
His agent didn't want him to go to the Penguins.
I thought like the Penguins didn't want him or something. He thought he was like,
Pittsburgh.
Low dollar.
and then like 3 days later they signed him.
Eddie announced his name. Mario stood up from where he was sitting, was expected to walk down to the Pittsburgh table. You know,
I'm assuming he's not alive since he's not in this documentary.
Pittsburgh sweater. No, not Mario. He sat down because he was upset with Pittsburgh. All right. And now here comes Albert. Albert the scout.
Albert the scout.
Albert Bandinici was the Penguins amateur scout in Quebec. He was desperate
Quebec?
to get the future franchise player to the team.
Quebec.
Oh, the fucking Hurricanes tied the game with 3 minutes left in the game.
Mario, he
The third
No,
period.
no shit.
Said, you have to come to the
Fucking
table,
smart.
Mario. I swear,
You gotta come to the
the
table.
guy was crying. Mario, Mario, you have to come down. Mario stared straight ahead. No way. And his agent, Gus Padali, stared straight ahead. No way he was going to let Mario walk down to the table. So he sat there in his seat and made an ass of himself.
The holdout ended when Lemieux signed 3 days after the draft.
Mario told me fairly early in his career was that was his biggest regret.
Sometimes you regret what you do when you're younger, when you're not mature, but that's the decision that I took at the time, and I'm certainly going to live with it.
How did he die?
9 years later, after the Ottawa Senators did
Oh.
something similar to Landon
Lemieux.
Tom
Is he
Diggs,
still alive?
the NHL
He's still alive.
instituted a draft
Oh.
lottery in 1995.
How come he's not in the
But
doc?
in
He didn't want to be in the
final days
documentary.
of '84, the league simply turned a blind eye to the race for Lemieux.
Did EJ game the system? He took advantage of a system that was in place. The National Hockey League.
But that was the system back then.
that
You were the
made it
worst team, you
possible
get the
for
first
you
pick.
to Perhaps position
I mean, the
yourself to
NFL
get
still
first
runs
pick
on
of the
that shit
draft
right now.
If you were a terrible
Like the
team.
Penguins decided to just do it when there was like a fucking superstar player out of nowhere.
What happened to Lemieux?
Like, well, this is the time to touch
2
this shit
Stanley
ahead.
Cups, 3 Hart trophies, and 6 Art Ross trophies.
It transformed the franchise and transformed the city, really.
Damn. How many cups did he win? 2? Just 2?
But what about
2
the man
and
who brought
3
Lemieux to the
as the
Penguins?
owner.
If Eddie Johnston had
Nice.
not taken the low road in '83,
So he has 5 cups.
there would be no hockey
Yeah.
in Pittsburgh. Mario proved to be his messiah.
And I got to play with Crosby in his
was
last
out by
season.
1988. He didn't get to see Lemieux and the Penguins hoist the
Is he
Stanley
gonna
Cup in
officially
91.
retire
But
after
make
next
no
season?
mistake, this was his cup.
No, I don't think so.
that EJ was one of the most brilliant GMs that we've ever had around here.
The timing of having Eddie Johnston become general manager of the Penguins, a man who embraced the concept of building through the draft.
Or no, he was like the first guy to like, man, if we want to build a team, we got to build through the draft instead of just signing players for free agents.
Now, Eddie Johnson looks like a genius.
Lou Angotti doesn't have the same pride of place in Penguins history. Although
He's always EJ Johns is always at the press boxes with the new GM. He's always like hanging out with the owners.
In essence, you
Fucking-
became the fall guy for what went on in that season.
Well,
You know,
you
Got
never
the
coached.
Stanley Cup parties. That
No, I
everything.
never did. No. There was an article that came out in New York in a New York paper, I think out of the Islander, said that I was a disgrace to the game and that I should never be allowed to coach again. And I never did. I never did.
Not bad. I find that other documentary I saw fucking NHL expansion draft. (1967). Another documentary if you want to watch it.
What's the documentary?
NHL expansion doc about like how all the other teams came in the NHL and shit. Like Vancouver, Flyers.
Oh, yeah, sure. How long is it?
It's like 40 minutes. I'll be right back to grab some water.
What?
This was a typical meal when I was following a carnivore diet. Little did I know, though, that I was really gaining weight. I gained over 10 pounds.
You made the same mistake as Dr. Drew did when going on carnivore 67. June 5th, 1967.
I just gotta take another bonk hits real quick. I love Marines. It's super nice outside. Went for a walk this morning. I'll take a video and show you the fucking the trails and shit. I got like fucking 50 something acres. Ooh. Alright. Time ready whenever.
4 seconds in.
Okay. 2, 3, 4. There we go.
For decades, the NHL was a small community of 6 teams that didn't stretch farther west than Chicago, and that hadn't changed in a quarter of a century. Then, seemingly overnight, the NHL doubled its size, expanding its boundaries to California, and landing in such exotic locales as Los Angeles and Oakland.
Exotic.
Oh yeah, the Oakland. Fucking Oakland Seals didn't last long.
But the expansion of 1967, brought about by the powerful force of televised sports, would change the game forever.
So there was only 12 teams at the time?
Yeah, there's only 16.
The NHL, like most every other major professional sports league, went through many dramatic changes in its early years. Founded in 1917, the league originally consisted of 4
Nice.
teams.
1917, brother.
The Canadiens, the Montreal Wanderers, the Ottawa Senators, and the Toronto Blue Shirts.
Blue shirts?
Yeah, that's what they were called.
Before they were the Maple Laps?
That old footage, goddamn. Fuck that shit.
The Wanderers would disband when their arena burned down shortly after opening night.
What?
Oh yeah, fuck.
The NHL
Yeah.
would expand to 10
Early
teams,
1900s, man, a lot of
adding
shit fucking
franchises in
burned down
Boston,
easy.
Pittsburgh, Chicago, Detroit, a second team in Montreal called the Maroons, and 2 franchises in New York.
Yeah, the Montreal
called
Maroons.
The, Rangers,
The Montreal Morons?
These morons.
1942-43 season, however, the Great Depression and World War II had reduced the league to 6
Yeah, hard
teams.
times.
Those teams would come to be known as the Original 6 and would make up the NHL for the next 25 years.
The original 6?
Yeah, original state, Montreal, Toronto, Rangers, Boston,
While the
Chicago.
NHL remained the same, the world around it was
Detroit.
changing.
What the fuck? Unsolved mystery music? What the fuck?
By the early 60s, televised sports was becoming
becoming more and more popular in North America.
Oh yeah, that's when they started going on TV in the 50s.
Becoming mainstream.
My mom used to listen to just the fucking Canadians play, like, on the radio when she was a kid. They didn't have TV. Everyone would listen to games on the fucking radio and shit.
Before helmets.
Yeah, no protection back then.
Although it had been an early leader in broadcasting, the NHL was watching its TV contract run out in 1960. The threat of a TV deal going to a rumored rival league in Western Canada eventually forced the NHL to act. And by 1963, a new guard within the league's ownership group, led by New York's William Jennings and Toronto's Stafford Smythe, started to press
William Jennings.
In March of 1965, NHL President Clarence Campbell announced plans to expand by 6 teams.
Yeah, we're getting somewhere, boys. Woo! Late 60s, baby.
This year, for the first time, the league will be
We got good music. We got fucking more hockey.
In the papers in Philadelphia about the expansion plans of the National Hockey League. I mean, as far as
The Vietnam War's coming,
the
brother.
National Hockey League didn't even exist. And a banker who had made the loan to our group that bought the Philadelphia Eagles was from J.P. Morgan, and he was leaving. He came
R.I.P.
back
Mr.
to
Snyder.
And I said, why? And he said, I'm going to work for Jack Hancock on the coast. And I said, well, what's going on there? And he said, well, Jack has the Lakers, and he has a piece of the Redskins and all the sports properties, and he's going to try to get it a franchise. He thinks he will in the National Hockey League. So I said, well, what's that all about? He said, well, they're expanding. They're going to add.
Yeah, somebody passed away from cancer in like 2016, I believe. Clarence Campbell, brother.
Expansion. The league had received 14 bids for new teams. It awarded franchises to Philadelphia, Los Angeles, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Pittsburgh, St. Louis, and San Francisco Oakland.
And San Francisco.
San Francisco Oakland.
Vancouver was rejected, largely because Montreal and Toronto did not want to share TV money. That decision
Dicks.
caused a
That's how baby fucking baby blue powdered fucking things. The North Stars before they went to Minnesota, and they came. No, they went to Dallas and then came up.
Cash apiece. So on, I think it was June 30th or thereabouts, in Montreal, everybody had to have the $2 million presented to the league, get their franchise. And I was scrambling.
$2 million? Fuck, chump change.
Yeah, it's chump.
Well, back then it wasn't chump change, but nowadays it's like chump change.
That's another long story, but the point is, I was now responsible for getting the $2 million, and I was scrambling to put it together that day before and got it, and was going to wire it up to Montreal to one of our executives, Bill Putnam, was up there, and who was the guy that left for Jack Hancock and came back and run the Flyers at the time. Anyway, there was a blackout, the only one ever in the city of Philadelphia, that day, and nothing was being wired. Everything was down and out, and we finally, they're waiting there for the money. It's not there. We finally managed to route it through New York to get there, and the whole history of how this franchise started was amazing.
As things turned out, building the new rink in Philadelphia wasn't as difficult as
The old Spectres Arena.
I was involved with a gentleman named Jerry Wallman at the time with the football team, and we decided to apply for the franchise, and I'm the guy who did it all. And so basically, we had to build an arena quick. Actually, from the time I had the idea to the time the Spectrum was built.
The Flyers were always a good fucking team, man. When this guy was still alive, he owned the Flyers. He would always like fucking trade for big fucking.
You know, it was quite a thing. I mean,
spent a bunch of money on fucking goals.
The head of city council here, who I was involved with in getting the stadium for football and baseball down here, his name was Paul Dortona, and said, what if we plunk an arena on the parking lot of what's going to be the stadium? I mean, it'll increase revenues, parking revenues, we'll pay rent, and so forth. And he loved the idea. Took me right in to see Mayor Tate, and Mayor Tate loved the idea. And he called in the city solicitor and the city finance director right on the spot. He said, look, they want to build an arena. He said to the city solicitor, let's get the legal work done. He said to the finance guy, he said, figure out how much the land costs us, divide it over the length of the lease, and let's get this thing going all in one day.
Canadian businessman Jack Kent Cooke had established himself as a new mover and shaker in sports in the mid-60s. He had purchased the NBA's Los Angeles Lakers and a share of the NFL's Washington Redskins.
Commanders, thank you very much.
Was the Hamilton native
Who? The what?
NHL team for Los Angeles. He began
I love the fucking logo was badass. Right?
I think at that time Los Angeles was an outpost for hockey. We had the original six, and then the Kings came in first expansion in '67. And hockey is a foreign sport in Los Angeles, and Mr. Cook believed that he had to have the same with the basketball. I think he believed in the star system. Although the Kings had a very solid team under Paul Holmberg in the early '70s, they went to Detroit and acquired.
Well, I don't mind the Commander's name, but it's just like the fucking logo.
Just the W or some shit.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck, man? It's like...
Love to have nicknames. We had to have some catchy phrases. So I think some of the original
Should have called them the Commandos and have a picture of Arnold.
Arnold or something, a giant fucking minigun.
Yeah. The Washington Commandos. Or the Washington Matrix.
I love those Kings fucking jerseys.
What, black and white jerseys?
The original ones.
There's no color there.
No. Next year they're gonna be changing their fucking jerseys. They could all fucking make the Kings great again. I hope they fucking come back and win the next fucking cup or something. Make it a series, fucking LA. You guys can't get your ass beat like 3 years in a row by the same team.
Chicago lost defenseman Moose Vasco to Minnesota, and Charlie Hodge went from Montreal to Oakland. It was also decided the 16 teams would play in their own division. 4 months later,
Divisions they make any sense. So how are Penguins a Western team?
So we have the franchise, we have our expansion team, we're getting ready to start. We're going to play our first game in the Spectrum in a few days, and the city decides to give us a parade from the center of town all the way down Broad Street to the Spectrum. So they put us in convertible cars, and we lined up to go down Broad Street to the Spectrum, and we were going down Broad Street, and here we are in this great parade. Nobody's there.
Back when there was like 6 divisions. God, I miss those days.
What is that? That first year in St. Louis, was
Fletcher with that nice fluffy white hair.
We only made the playoffs the last weekend of the season, and by then the interest in St. Louis, which was mild to moderate, became overwhelming, and we were filling the building. People got captured up in it. We beat Philadelphia in the 7-game series, and then beat Minnesota in the 7-game series. So then there was a last Montreal Canadiens. So it really
You mean Quebec?
Yeah, because back then not every team, there was only like a couple AHL teams, not every fucking team had an AHL team.
So the North Stars, unfortunately, suffered the greatest loss of all during their
So they would like fucking pair like players. So you need a helmet, boy. So I had to take one motherfucker like dying and fucking
Masters Team trophy?
Yeah, they give that trophy for the player that comes back from an injury or like that has a really good season or like perseverance type trophy.
Crosby got one of those?
What? Nah, I probably will though. He should have fucking had one, but the fucking... It's like the Penguins player, fucking... Motherfuckers had like 2 strokes and came back like better than ever. And he keeps getting like fucked over for the trophy. Like, what the fuck does this guy gotta do, man? To get a fucking mastering trophy. Fucking Canadians are just God mode. Glenn Hall, fucking Bees goalie. I think this documentary has to be like made in like the early 2000s or something. While these guys are like passed away now.
Expansion, and we would cross and play, but in the playoffs, you would play in your own division. Expansion played, and original 6 played, and then they met.
Joining Hall between the pipes was fellow Hall of Fame goaltender Jacques Plante.
Jacques Plante, greatest goaltender of all time. Invented the fucking goalie helmet.
There were very few quality young players made available to us, so your only option was to go on veterans, and the likes of Lynn Patrick and Scotty Bowman, we picked some solid NHL veterans, and we were able to make a great trade with the New York Rangers to acquire Red Berenson, who became an instant star from being a part-time player with the Rangers. But we had a lot of veterans in the twilight of the career. Doug Harvey played, Dickie Moore, Phil Goyette, just on and on. So it definitely helped our club out once we got into the playoffs, because we had a lot of players who had a lot of rings and knew how to win those type of games.
Expansion, totally unfair. The existing teams, the original six, gave up nothing. They gave up some old guys that they figured couldn't play anymore, and some young kids that they felt would never play. I think, and St. Louis represented expansion for the first few years, and I think we really represented expansion very, very well, and had.
Yeah, St. Louis did really well in the expansion. I think they made the finals like their first 3 years in the NHL, but they lost like to the Canadiens all 3 times because the
The new
fucking Canadiens
franchise
were
in the Bay
god mode.
Area was beset with problems. The proposed new rink for Oakland was never built.
Terrible looking
And after
jerseys.
2 unstable years under owner Barry Van Gervig, the Seals were sold to the notorious Charlie O. Finley in 1970.
It was tough because the first year of expansion in '67, Oakland had been picked to be the best of the new expansion teams, and unfortunately they were a total flop on the ice, and they were a total flop at the box office. The people that
Not too good,
took over
California.
the ownership of the Seals had asked me to go there during that year, and I was in Pittsburgh and had a commitment there, and I said I couldn't until the end of the year. And so when we went out there, we made a number of changes. We brought in Freddie Glover as our coach, and we made a number of player changes. And we were fortunate enough our first year to go from last place to second place and go to the semifinals of the Stanley Cup. So it kind of created some interest in hockey. And the next year we made the playoffs again. We're eliminated in the quarterfinals. And then the following year.
What? So where? She asking me or you? What? Why is she
God, I
getting-
missed that. I missed those fucking the fucking like NHL shit at the bottom. That the look of that shit was fucking badass. Brad Kelly. This is the this is the guy right here I'm talking about. Michel Briere. Late 80s, early 90s, brother. The rise of the Penguins. Ding, ding, ding. Bobby fucking Clark. Good old Canadian boy. That's incredible. Brendan Perron, what a fucking beast. Bobby Clark. Still fucking kicking me, still working for the Flyers. What do you still have to do today, brother? Bobby Clark, old school as hell, man.
The Canucks came in along with Buffalo for the 1970-71 season. The game would enjoy success in its two new cities. The same couldn't be said for Long Island and Atlanta. They were added 2 years, partly to block the threat of the upstart new World Hockey.
Looking at the situation, really different than any other expansion or any other coming in, simply because we were not going to be the only team in the market. The New York pretty well established team. They were probably, if not the best team in the league at that time, certainly the second best. Very strong team of established stars, obviously. And with Rod Gilbert and
Jean Lattell.
And then Brad.
Yeah, this is a good documentary.
Stanley Cup contender. One could see that they were going to be for the next few years. So, the chance of us really competing for the first few years were pretty slim. Second of all, obviously, the Rangers, the most dominant team PR-wise, is well established. And the structure of the league was a lot different then. There were only 14 teams. We were put in the East Division, whereas the Atlanta Flames went in the West. In the East Division, obviously, the Montreal Canadiens, the Boston Bruins. It was a much stronger, tougher division. So it's pretty clear to me that where we were going to end up for the first couple of years. And coinciding with that, the draft then was a 20-year-old draft. Coming out of junior hockey in Canada, and there was some really outstanding talent coming, and so I simply sat down with the ownership and I said, look, we can go piecemeal and try and bring in an old guy here, an old guy there, and create them, or I said we go for the entry draft and draft spend our time, effort, money in looking down the road 3 to 5 years, and when the much younger team, our talent, if we do a good job drafting, obviously then
Dear John,
we felt
we don't need them home.
winning, and so that's basically the approach I took for those reasons. It was a little tough. We only won 12 games the first year, and every city we went in, I remember the headlines here from the Hapless Islanders, and it was a little tough to take. The expansion draft was not a very generous one. I think there were only 3 established NHL players we got out of the expansion draft. Eddie Westfall, most obvious. But the second year, couple of moves and improved. Brought in Al Arbor as the coach. We knocked 100 goals against off our record. Big thing. Defensively, we started to get better. Then obviously, we did a good job in the entry draft. Second year, we drafted Denny Bogdan, which was obviously the first big step. That's the way we went. It was a tough couple of years to get it off the ground. But once it started to take shape, very exciting.
The Islanders win the Stanley Cup.
Just 8 years after that dismal first campaign, the Islanders would go on to win their first of 4 straight Stanley Cups. and white were added in 19...
Kansas City, brother.
5 years later. The NHL brought Winnipeg, Edmonton, Hartford, and Quebec from the WHL. There were also a number of franchise relocations. Flames would never Calgary in 1980.
Out of Atlanta moved to Calgary.
The Kansas City Scouts would move to Colorado and then New Jersey, where they would
Kansas City Scouts to Colorado. Yeah, I call themselves the Colorado Rockies for a bit.
The NHL existed as a 21-team league.
What the hell, the Sharks?
In 1991, the league would welcome the San Jose Sharks.
God, I miss those Sharks jerseys right there. Bring that shit back.
Ottawa, Tampa Bay would join later. In 93, they continued their move at Thunder by adding a team in Anaheim. The Mighty Ducks raised the bar in entertainment and increased hockey awareness in Southern California. The New York Islanders weren't the only team that Bill Torrey helped succeed as a basketball. In 1993, he was named president and general manager of the newly formed Florida Panthers.
Florida Panthers.
Bunch of players. I just saw Mike Cup here the other night at the dinner for Roger Nielsen, and we were talking about what a unique group of players they were. They all pulled 100%. They worked extremely hard. They were very, very
God,
good.
bring
They
those
all were
fucking
very
Panthers
good
jerseys back.
We did not. Poison, obviously.
Fucking 90s jerseys are
Nielsen
fucking
was
way better looking.
the game we liked to play. And with Mark Fitzpatrick and John Van Duzer in goal, we had outstanding goaltending. We were a hard team to play against. I mean, from an energy work, never had a team that worked hard. Pride they had, and would never give up. And we started in the playoffs. I think beating Boston gave a big emotional lift to this team. Bruins obviously were heavily favored, and like it was a fluke. We beat them, in a good solid effort, and I gave our team a big lift. So down to Pittsburgh, and we played Mario and Jaromir Jagr. We were huge underdogs, but we shut them down. Literally.
Yeah, the fucking Penguins could have made the Cup Finals that year. They lost Game 6 and Game 7. One game away from going to the 96 Cup Finals. Could have got 6 Stanley Cups.
The new arena that we now have and play in Sunrise, which is one of the best new buildings here. Outstanding facility. Never would have gotten the financing for that had it not been for that run. So it was a huge thing for the franchise.
Atlanta.
The NHL awarded 2 more franchises, Atlanta Thrashers and the Nashville Predators, to close out the decade.
Yeah, 1998, 1999.
I've never been to Nashville before in my life, and I had heard all the stereotype descriptions that everybody else had, that it was, all it was, of course, I knew it was a non-hockey market, so there was a couple of strikes there against it starting, but Craig Leopold, the owner, had a vision, had a view, and he certainly sold me on the potential of the city, and everything we do, a little bit of a leap of faith, but I think that's great, and they really want to be there. I mean, they're proud that NHL hockey is there in Nashville, and they want their city to grow and to be recognized nationally and internationally. I think the NHL is a little bit of a vehicle to do that, so we've had nothing but positive experiences.
I love that fucking Nashville Predators logo though. I ain't gonna lie, that is a fucking great logo. With the saber tooth.
In 2000, the league then grew to format, adding a new franchise in cities called the Minnesota Wild, other in Columbus, the Blue Jackets. While the jury is still out for some in regard to expansion, it has certainly created unforeseen places. Who would have thought back in the days of the Olympics that cities like Tampa Bay, Anaheim, and Dallas would be home to NHL teams? And not just any teams, but Stanley Cup winning teams.
I'm in favor of expansion to cities that make sense, and areas that make sense. The hockey people, which I'm a hockey person, but when I say the general manager type, all times are against it. But I think from a business and league point of view, it's a good thing because it expands the sport. The Blues were hard-working, solid, defensive type hockey team. Struggle at times to score goals like all the expansion teams did. But, from there you have to build your team up so that you can compete existing teams. And it took about 5 years, but finally the expansion teams started to catch up to the existing teams at that time. And then you look at the Philadelphia Flyers when they won back-to-back Stanley Cups in the early 70s. So the naysayers, say that hockey has, very small base of loyalty. That's a bunch of bull. We have millions of fans. So it's not a great thing for the city, but more important, it's not a great thing for us because we've got great fans.
A day that changed the game.
Some good shit. I'll be back.
Bye.